Pokémon Ultra Sun and Moon are definitely worthy entries in the long-running series, even though they obviously borrow substantially from Sun and Moon. So, in this first episode, we will look at how Nintendo and Game Freak can build on the most recent game when the latter finally moves to more powerful hardware. And across this series, we will address it all. The possibilities, the challenges, the threats, and strengths when Pokemon takes the big plunge into the unknown. Welcome to our new series, Inside Pokémon Switch. With Pokémon Ultra Sun and Moon finally out, the 3DS line of Pokémon games has finally been concluded. This claim naturally is backed by the fact that Game Freak previously, in October, declared that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are the final mainline installments of the series on the extremely popular handheld. This confirmation and strategy goes in line with what the president of the Pokémon company, Tsunekazu Ishihara, announced during E3 2017, namely that Game Freak has begun developing a core RPG Pokémon title on the Nintendo Switch. It may not release for more than a year, but we hope you will look forward to it all the same. Even the game director for Ultra Sun and Moon, Kazumasa Iwao, has confirmed that the development team for Ultra Sun and Moon was half the size, 80 people compared to Sun and Moon's 160. If that wasn't enough, this team of 80 consisted, for the most part, of younger programmers and designers, leaving the experienced series veterans free to work on a much more ambitious project, a core RPG Pokémon title for the Nintendo Switch. Seeing this division of resources, it is not an overstatement to conclude that, throughout 2017, Game Freak have been simultaneously working on two Pokémon titles, Ultra Sun and Moon and the currently untitled Pokémon Switch. The younger team definitely delivered with Ultra Sun and Moon. But now, after the game is out to solid reviews, it is long overdue for this young and talented team to join the veterans to finish the Pokémon game to outshine all previous Pokémon titles and deliver a game for the franchise to the same quality as Breath of the Wild for Zelda and Super Mario Odyssey for Mario. No system limitations will stand in the way this time when Game Freak finally takes the step to create their first HD mainline Pokémon RPG game ever. But what can the development take from Ultra Sun and Moon? For one, the expansive premise including the Ultra Beasts such as Necrozma and the Alolan Pokémon forms. But apart from these extensions for the Alola generation, unless it is a third or more specifically fifth entry in this generation, which we, by the way, highly doubt this is, what else could Ultra Sun and Moon bring to the Switch table? For one, the super powerful Z moves, which were highly cinematic and impactful in both Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. They may be a little overkill, but for a grandiose HD experience, they would serve for an impressive spectacle which could be really close to the combat scenes in the Pokemon anime and movies. And isn't that what we want to see in a Pokemon Switch title? A game that visually matches our expectations for a full-fledged HD Pokemon experience? Nonetheless, visual improvements are a given at this point, as moving from 240p to 1080p is an indescribable leap for the franchise. The same could to some extent be said about Zelda's leap for Breath of the Wild and Super Mario's leap for Odyssey. Even so, those two games are not first and foremost praised for their graphical performance, except for Breath of the Wild, which has a gorgeous Japanese anime art style. The point is that a jump to more powerful hardware doesn't only raise expectations when it comes to a game's visuals, but also extent of the world you are about to create. Pokemon games are notorious for their linearity and bound roads, which doesn't let you wander off the beaten path. This was obviously a given back in 1996, as this was the way to develop a handheld RPG. But in 2017 or 2018, there is no way that even Game Freak can get away with a world design like this one. Luckily, across the 3DS generations of X and Y, Sun and Moon, and now Ultra Sun and Moon, we've seen good examples of how the Pokémon Company is gradually opening up to the idea of giving the players some more room to explore and customize their character, thus adding more value to the gameplay outside of Pokémon battles. This trend has to be extended upon countless of times for Pokémon Switch, if the move from handheld to HD hybrid is to be successful, as we look for a different and wider experience on our Switches. To put it frankly, the bar is set really high after seeing what Breath of the Wild and Odyssey delivered. Game Freak will really have to step up their game if they intend to play in the same league. World size and content within this one is important, but what truly made Zelda and Mario stand out was the emphasis of gameplay innovation. Perfectly valid examples here are climbing and the physics engine in Breath of the Wild, and Cappy's captures in Odyssey. Pokémon on the other side has also tried to shake up its formula in this most recent generation. Sun and Moon, and specifically Ultra Sun and Moon, have for instance shook up on the premise of gyms and gym leaders, replacing them with kahunas, putting greater emphasis on double battles, battling against past protagonists and all of the main villains in the series, catching all legendary Pokémon, taking pictures with your Pokémon, adding powerful Z moves as an ace to put an end to more challenging battles, further expanding the variety of Pokéballs, bringing in mysterious Ultra Beasts which took a central stage in the main quest of Ultra Sun and Moon, and expanding on the narrative beyond the championship match and adding deep and insightful content for fans and casual players to enjoy, long after the main villain of the game is defeated and the Elite Four have been conquered. But most interesting is the extension of the Pokémon universe as we know it. Since with Pokémon Ultra Sun and Moon's Rainbow Team Rocket, with all the villainous teams and leaders, including the deceased ones, Pokémon Switch can either follow a multiverse premise and timeline not so different from the one found in the Legend of Zelda series, or start on blank pages, leaving the handheld past being exactly history. And this brings us to the big question. Should Pokémon for the Nintendo Switch follow the established canon and lore, reboot the existing one, or build a brand new one? The answer is difficult, as we know that Nintendo has set a staggeringly high ambition for numbers of Switches on the market in 2018. Because let's be honest, Yoshi, Kirby, and even Fire Emblem can't double the number of Switches on the market from 15 to 30 million in a year. But based on experience, we know that Pokémon can do this. Nintendo knows this as well, and have probably set their goal and money on a holiday 2018 release for the core RPG Pokémon title. Because the Switch needs this or a brand new Animal Crossing or Super Smash Bros. To reach the previously referenced numbers. Sorry Metroid Prime 4, but it is best for you to have Pokémon to boost up the system sales before you drop. Though, we still love you. Joking aside, how possibly could Nintendo finish this game in 2 years, and what approach could they take? The by far easiest option to reach this goal, but at the same time laziest, is to continue the current 7th generation, with all the Pokémon and features found in Alola already in place. But do we really need a third release of 7th gen games set in Alola, as a means to convince more 3DS owners and Pokefans to get a Nintendo Switch? Yes and no. For the hardcore Pokémon fan who is picking up every mainline game, a resounding yes. But for general 3DS owners who already have Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, hard to tell. The thing is that parents and children would probably be more skeptical about spending at least $300 for a Nintendo Switch system and a Pokémon game they have in a large part already played twice. Unless the 3DS is killed off next year by Nintendo and they are forced to make the Switch. In other words, it looks like 2 more Alola games could be problematic after Ultra Sun and Moon. So, what are the alternatives? Frankly speaking, a remake of either Gen 1 or 4 or a brand new Pokémon experience a la what Breath of the Wild was for Zelda. So, for the second episode of Inside Pokémon Switch, we will give you the following option as to what we should cover. Remake of Gen 4 or an open world Pokémon game. Vote by writing down your pick in the comment section below. And by the way, for episode 2, I will be joined by our trusted Pokémon fan Leo, who you may remember from our Pokémon timeline, which you should definitely check out after this video. Make sure to like, and if you don't want to miss episode 2, subscribe to the Commonwealth Realm and turn on the notification bell. Once again, thank you for watching, and a big thank you to all our patrons, including our Patreon royal producers, Transcendent Sacred Courage and Kenyatta Ali. If you want to support us and get one of these 190 lovely metal pins, then pledge $5 over at least 2 months. So go and check out patreon.com/commonrealm. Until then, make sure to catch 'em all, and we will see you in 2 weeks for episode 2.